person back. Get the courtesy, but anybody really to do this case?
I don't know. I don't think so, yeah.
Okay. I have a person in the Zoom room, Hazel Gertzy.
That's who? Oh, that's my client's ex-wife. Good father.
Is there anything to do with this case?
Not that I know of. But is she on Zoom or is she on YouTube?
She's on Zoom. She's in the background.
I don't know what she got there.
All right. Guess what they-
Thank you, Your Honor. At this point in time, people will call this still be a rule house research.
Okay, oh, stand up. Stand this way. Don't touch me. Raise your right hand. You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Right, you have a seat? Ms. Jewell?
Yeah.
All right, Ms. Jewell, you're gonna be asked a series of questions. First by the prosecutor, then the defense attorney will probably ask you some questions. I may or may not ask you questions, all right? You have to answer all your questions out loud verbally. Just can't shake your head and say, I'm just a yes, no, whatever the answer is. Right? Also, when you ask a question, please just answer that question and stop. If it's a yes or no type question, just say yes or no and stop. They need additional information, they'll just ask you another question, right? You all have a tendency sometimes when we're telling a story or event that happened to us, especially if that event is traumatic to us, we tend to ramble. You say this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and we go on and on like that. If you do that, I'm gonna miss something, all right? I know nothing about this case. The only thing I know about this case is in his name or these charges. Now I know your name. All right, I get all my information from what happens in court. One question, one answer at a time. That way I can understand it. All right? All right, the last but not least, you are all wearing masks. You got these barriers up here that tends to muffle all the clouds. So I need you to please keep your voice up. You can talk directly into that microphone to your left, and that will help amplify your voice. All right?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Could you please state your name for the record?
So visual.
And Ms. Jewell, if you need to adjust that microphone in front of you, you can move that around and adjust it so it's. There you go. And Ms. Jewell, I'm going to draw your attention back to on or about January 22nd of 2021. Do you remember that day?
Yeah.
Where were you that day?
I was at Chubb's house,
Okay, do you know where that's located?
Lumpkin.
And is Lumpkin within the city of Detroit, County of Wayne?
Yeah.
How did you get there?
A friend of my friend drove us there.
Okay, do you say us? Who did you go with?
Me and Jackie.
Who's Jackie?
Jackie's a friend of mine.
And when you're at this house on Lumpkin, was it just you and Jackie there, or were there other people there?
There are other people there.
And do you see any of those people in the courtroom right now?
Can't see.
Okay, you said you're having a hard time
Yeah,
seeing.
I don't have contact with, I'm sorry.
Okay, do you have a hard time with distances or close up?
Distance.
Okay. Are you able to see me clearly?
No.
Okay. Um, do you know the names of any of the people who are in the house?
Chris,
Do you know Chris's last name?
no, it was on.
Okay. Do you know what Chris looks like?
Yeah,
What does he look like?
he has long hair, about 6 foot, skinny,
You know his race?
white.
If you saw him again, would you recognize him?
Absolutely.
Do you have a brief moment here?
Sure. Do you have any-
I'm sorry.
your client trying to get them?
And Your Honor, with her vision difficulties, is there any way that I can have Ms. Jewel walk around a little? Pardon me, Your Honor? Okay. Ms. Jewel, can you come with me?
Well, let her do it.
Okay. Walk, if you could just walk around the courtroom and let me know if you see anyone who's in that house. Okay. And that person you just pointed at, what color was that person wearing? Your Honor, may the record reflect that application of the defendant. Thank you. Ms. Jewel, when you get there, what do you do at that house?
I was waiting for my friend to do things.
Other than the defendant, was there anyone else there with you and your friend?
Yeah, well, Chris had left with Jackie at some point in time.
Okay. When Chris leaves with Jackie, what do?
I just wait around for Jackie. I'm there with Chubbs.
And who is Chuck to you? Is that someone you know?
I know this is my first time meeting him.
At any point in time, does Jackie return?
Yeah.
Does she return by herself?
With Chris.
What happens after Jackie returns?
She says that she didn't make any money.
Oh, no, I'm gonna jump this to the hearsay nature.
I'll repeat. Can you tell me what Jackie's demeanor is like when she returns without telling what she said?
She just doesn't really care. I'm not,
Okay.
careless.
Is she engaged in a conversation with anyone?
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Okay, is she talking to somebody specific at all?
Well, she didn't call me, she called me. And she told me
I don't want
that,
you to tell me what she told you, but she was talking to you?
yeah,
Was anyone around while you two were talking?
yes,
Who was around?
Chubbs.
After Jackie gets back to the house, what do you guys do there?
She says that she didn't make any money, so,
Okay, can't say what she said, I'm sorry. Just what did you do? Not what anybody said, what did you do?
we get in the car.
Why did you get in the car?
To go find out where all her money went.
Who did you get in the car with?
Her, Chubbs, and Chris.
Do you remember what kind of car this was?
A van,
Where are you in the car?
what you saying?
Where are you in the car?
At first I was in the back seat.
And the defendant, where's he at?
Driver's seat.
Did you want to be in the car at that point in time?
No.
Why did you get in the car if you didn't want to be?
I was told to.
Who told you to get in the car? When you get in the car, where are you going?
Honestly, I'm not sure what I do.
Thank you.
Do you know, where the car was at? Were you still in the city of Detroit?
Yes.
Was the defendant saying anything while you're in the car?
Questioning why she doesn't have any money.
And, can you describe his demeanor when he's saying that?
Angry.
Do you go anywhere, really?
We drive around for a while.
Does anything happen while you're driving around?
We're getting yelled at. Jackie gets assaulted.
You say Jackie gets assaulted, what do you mean by that?
She was hit a couple times and then she was stabbed in the leg.
Did you see who hit her?
Correct.
Did you see how he hit her?
I think it was overhand.
Did you see where on where on her body he hit her?
For sure.
You said she was stabbed.
Yeah.
Did you see who stabbed her?
Correct.
Where on the leg was she stabbed?
That.
Did you see what type of weapon he used?
I think it was a screwdriver.
And when you say Chris, is that the same person you identified in court today? How were you feeling at that time?
Scared.
Does anything else happen in the car while you're driving around?
We go back to the house and park in the field next to the house.
And when you park in that field, do you stay in the vehicle, get out, something different?
We stay in the vehicle.
And, does the defendant say anything in the vehicle at that time?
Just yelling about wanting the money.
And when he's yelling, do you remember at all specifically what he's saying?
No,
Did you want to be in the vehicle at that time?
actually not.
Why did you stay in the vehicle?
I was afraid I couldn't hurt anybody. Left, I believe.
Judge, I'm sorry, I can't hear.
Could you repeat that?
I said I was afraid that if I tried to leave, I could hurt.
Did anybody threaten you about being hurt if you tried to leave?
Yeah.
Who threatened you?
Chris.
Do you remember what he said to threaten you?
No.
Was that while you were still in the car? Were those threats made at all while you were driving or just while you were parked?
Oh, yes, well, we were driving, yeah.
When you're at that field, what if anything happens there?
I had Chubb turn his hotspot on and, I tried to transfer money to a friend so that they could bring me the money so I could pay off the debt.
And is there anyone specific who's telling you you have to pay off some sort of debt?
Both Chris and Chubb.
Is this a debt that you were aware of?
No,
When did they say that you had to pay off some debt?
they kept changing the time, but it was the fourth morning.
And where was it that they told you there was a debt that had to be paid off? Do you remember if you were in the car, in a house, something different?
It was in the house.
Is that before you left to drive around?
Yeah.
And when you were told in the house before you left to drive around that there was a debt, did the defendant say anything else about that debt?
No,
So you're trying to transfer money to pay that off, are you able to do that?
no, they left.
If you say they left your account, do you mean the defendant?
No, thanks.
Does anything else happen while you're at that field?
I get hit in the face.
Who hit you?
Chris,
How did you hit you in the face?
overhand,
Do you remember on what side of your face?
on my left side,
How do you feel at that time?
scared,
Did he say anything when he hit you in the face?
told me to shut up.
Is there anything else that happens after you get hit in the face?
No, oh, they made me, turn off the location on my laptop. gonna sell my laptop or
Okay,
Judge, I'm gonna object this.
I'll clarify. You say,
I'm gonna strike, just have to go back.
who made you turn off the location of your laptop?
Chris,
And who said they were gonna sell your laptop?
both times in Chris.
Did you turn off the location?
No.
Did it say anything specific to make you turn the location off?
No, I don't.
How did you feel when they were telling you to turn the location of your laptop off?
Right?
Did you stay at the field there in the car?
No, we left the water.
Is there anything else that happens there?
No,
And when you leave, how do you,
pardon me?
how do you leave? Do you leave the vehicle
In the
alone?
vehicle.
And where are you at in the vehicle this time?
He makes me go into the, passenger seat.
Is that a front passenger or rear
Yes.
passenger? And when you say he, who are you referring to?
Chris,
Where is Chris in the car?
driver's seat.
And that time, where do you go to, if you know?
I don't know if that's an abandoned house.
Do you know if that was still in the city of Detroit or somewhere else? Does anything happen in the vehicle between the field and the abandoned house?
Once we get to the abandoned house, I tried to get out of the car.
Why do you try to get out of the car?
I thought Chris told me to get out.
Well, Judge, I'm gonna object to, I thought Chris, I mean, did he tell her to get out or did he not? Not like, oh.
She was saying why she did something, she said she thought he told her to get out. I don't, there's hearsay there, and I don't think she was speculating as to what he did or didn't do. She was giving her a frame of mind.
All right, one more thing.
When you were in the car at that point in time, did you want to be in the car?
No,
Do you remember if he was saying anything between the field and that abandoned house?
I don't even remember.
When you tried to get out of the car, what happened?
Chris ended up choking me.
And where are you when he chokes you?
On the driveway next to the abandoned house,
Where is Chris?
in the driver's seat, choking me.
How is he choking you?
No. I know exactly how to show it, but no. From his back, like, that's me.
For the record, your Honor, witness had her hands up around her neck. Could you tell if he used one hand or two?
Two hands.
How is his body position related to yours? Were you face to face, front to back?
He was in back of me,
Did he say anything at that time when he's choking you?
told me not to get out of the car.
How are you feeling at that time?
Hopeful.
And when he's choking you, did you have any difficulty breathing?
Yeah,
Did you have any difficulty saying anything?
Yeah.
Did you have any issues with your vision?
Yeah.
What kind of issues with your vision did you have?
I just started to go black.
Is there anything else that happened as a result of him choking you?
I ended up peeing on myself a little bit.
After he choked you, do you stay in the driveway?
No, he takes me inside the house.
And when he takes you inside the house, does he touch you when he takes you?
Yeah,
How does he do that?
no. On my ass,
Okay, when you say on your ass, how does he touch you on your ass?
like beating me in.
Judge, I can't hear.
Yep, you can repeat that, what you touch it, he touched you where?
Beating me in.
Leading you in, how is he leading you in?
Touching my foot and pushing me in the house.
Is he saying anything to you while he's touching your butt and pushing you in the house?
He asked me, how do you like my house?
Are you inside, outside, something different when he says that?
No one inside.
Is there anything else that happens inside the house?
He brings me in there and he shows me into one of the rooms and there's a rolled up rug. And there's a body in there.
And
What, okay, you said there's a rolled up rug, what?
There's a rolled up rug with a body in it.
And are you able to see that clearly?
No.
Can you describe any of your other senses at that point in time?
Wait a minute, you said you couldn't see the body?
No, he told me there was.
Oh, he said there's a body in it. You just saw a rolled up rug.
Yeah,
Okay.
the smell of.
What was the smell like?
Pretty awful.
You said he, the defendant, told you it was a dead body?
Yeah.
Did you say anything else?
Kept asking, like, when out.
Did anything else happen while you're in the house?
No.
Did you go to any other rooms in the house?
Not that I can remember.
Is your memory a little bit fuzzy on this?
Yeah.
Do you remember making a statement?
Well, Judge, I'm gonna object. She asked her, did anything else happen? She said no. So what is she trying to refresh her memory with now?
I asked if he said anything else, and she said, I don't really remember.
Well, I mean, that would be leading.
Meeting. Let's go back. Sorry.
Do you remember if he said anything else while you were in the house?
No.
If you say no, does that mean that you don't remember, or no, he didn't say anything?
No, I don't remember.
Do you remember if he made a statement in this case?
No, I don't.
You don't remember if he made a statement? Do you remember talking to police?
Yeah.
Do you remember if any of those police officers were writing anything down when you were talking to them?
Yeah.
Did you have a chance to look at that?
Yeah, briefly.
So do you remember reviewing that?
Yeah.
Would that help refresh your memory about whether he said anything else to you in the house?
Yeah.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yeah.
Approaching for the record with a three-page document.
Well, Judge, can we approach first? We take that back and approach. I don't know how we would approach here.
Well, around here. says nothing else happened.
Can you review that for me? Does that help refresh your memory?
Yeah.
Is that the statement that you made?
Yeah.
Do you now remember if he said anything else to you? And I don't want you to read from that back out. Thank you. Does that help refresh your memory about if he said anything else to you?
Yeah.
Did he say anything else to you?
Yeah.
And what was that?
Then he injected into the money, you know, put the body in there, and that killed people before.
How did that make you feel?
Really scared.
After he said that, what if anything else happened?
He took me back up to the van.
And the statement that you just looked at, is that your statement?
Yeah.
Do you remember the police asking you what happened to you?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Just for the record, I want just for the sake of the record, I want to place my objection on the record that now she is asking the leading question. The witness was asked a question earlier as to what happened in the house, and she said nothing else happened. And I don't think it's proper for her to even try to use her own question. That would be my objection.
Do you remember who allowed you?
I just want to place my objection.
Okay. Go ahead.
Do you remember telling the police that he said he killed 4 people, he also touched on my breast, ass, and vagina over my clothes?
Yeah.
Was that accurate?
Yeah.
Do you remember where he touched you on your breast, ass, and vagina?
The police are like,
The place, yes.
in the house.
Is that the same area where you saw the rolled up carpet?
Yeah.
Did he say anything when he touched you?
No.
And prior to getting into that house, what was the topic of conversation in the van?
Well, no, topic of conversation. Was it, how is that not hearsay?
I'm not asking her to say what anybody else said, just the overall topic.
That is saying what they said. You're just paraphrasing it, but it's still saying what they said, still hearsay.
When you're in the van between the field and the house, is there any discussion about that death? Who was that discussion involved?
Chris,
I'm trying to get his hearsay. I can't take it anyway.
Pardon me, Your Honor?
Strike it as hearsay. Well, she can say what Chris said, she can't say what Chuck said.
Right, Your
No,
Honor.
and you phrased the question as this conversation. And who was in that conversation?
Right.
Right, and what was the essence of that conversation, which is hearsay, at least part of it.
I was asking who was involved to elicit an answer that the defendant was involved. I'm now going to ask what he was saying. I wasn't going to get into this other person.
Right.
What was Chris saying about the debt?
that he could take us to his farm.
His mom,
Is what?
His farm,
Arm?
yeah. I guess the farm.
What does that have to do with the money? You asked about the money.
Oh, that was,
Or debt, that's what it was, the action about the debt.
I'm sorry. He just said he was going to kill us.
When you were at that house, did you want Chris to touch you on your breast?
which house?
Out by the abandoned house? Did you want him to touch you on your buttocks?
No,
Did you want him to touch you on your vagina?
no,
Did you expect that to happen?
no.
After you leave the house, where do you go?
We continue to drive around. And make phone calls. Hoping someone will pick up and help us pay the debt.
Are you able to get the debt paid?
Yes.
How does that happen if you know?
Jackie was able to reach one of her friends, I guess, that's what we can call him. And, he ends up bringing us $400.
And when you're calling, check that, are you participating in phone calls to try to get this debt paid?
Yeah, I'm trying to contact people.
And you're contacting people, what are you doing? When you contact them?
Trying to remember phone numbers, trying to reach out to anyone.
Is there any particular way in which you're trying to get this debt paid?
No particularly.
Do you remember telling the police that you were trying to get dates?
Yes, yes.
When did that happen?
That happened, Jackie was one of the days.
Did you try to get dates?
No, not that night.
Did Chris ever say anything about getting dates?
The night after Jackie was, or the morning after Jackie was released, yes.
You say Jackie was released, how was she released?
The person who paid up her debt came and picked her up, and she ended up locking me out of the car so I couldn't get in.
Where was this at?
Somewhere in Detroit.
Was it at the Junction Street?
No,
After you leave the abandoned house, where do you go?
like I said, we drove around and we're calling people until Jackie was able to contact this person to pay up the debt.
When you're driving around this time, does anything happen in the vehicle?
What happened?
Does anything happen in the vehicle while you're driving around this time?
No, other than, we cussed out and hit
Who hits you?
Chris.
Where does he hit you?
He hits Jackie, right? He hits me with his face, wherever he hit us.
Do you do anything else?
No. Oh, yes, I forgot. He tried to burn my hair up with a butane lighter.
you when that happened, if you know?
I was in the passenger seat,
Where was Chris?
driver's seat.
You say a butane lighter, what kind of lighter is that, if you can describe it?
One of those big torch flares.
When you say big, I saw you moving with your hands, how big was it?
I don't know, approximately,
Your Honor, it appears she was indicating maybe 6 or 8 inches. How far apart are you two when he tries to burn your hair with the lighter?
probably, like, it's far apart.
2 feet?
Yeah,
Do you see anything when that happens?
that is gonna burn my hair off,
How are you feeling at that time?
pretty traumatized.
What do you do, if anything?
What did you say?
What do you do?
I scream and try and get away.
Are you able to get away?
No,
Does anything else happen while you're in the vehicle?
not that I remember.
And when you get to that location where Jackie leaves, what kind of location is that?
It's a residential street.
Is there a house?
Yeah, there's lots of houses.
You stay in the car, or you go in a house, something different?
Well, no, me and Jack jump out and stuff in the doors, warnings out.
You said you jumped out and what? I'm sorry.
They throw belongings out.
Okay, through your room.
Yeah.
Are you able to leave at that time?
No, when the person pulls up to get us, Jackie jumps in the car and locks me out of the car.
Where do you go at that time?
I go back to the person's car. They just told me to go with them.
Do you want to go with them?
No,
Why do you go with them?
I didn't know where I was.
Does Chris say anything else to you when you're in the car at that time?
He just told me that it was Jackie, that person for leaving me.
I'm sorry, Judge, I can't.
He says, he tells her that Jackie is a bad person for leaving her.
Where do you go? If you know.
Back to the house on the weekend.
Do you want to be at that house on Longcat?
No,
Do you stay there or you go somewhere else?
I go back to Chris's house after a while.
Why do you go to Chris's house?
He, apparently I wrapped up the debt, and now I have to pay it off by doing dates.
When you say you racked up with that, is it something that you're aware of?
No,
Did Chris tell you how you racked up the debt?
apparently I bought drugs.
Did you buy drugs from Chris?
No,
And you said that he told you were going to do dates. Did you want to do dates?
no,
How were you feeling at that time?
shocked.
When you go to Chris's house, is that something you wanted to do?
No,
Did he say anything between the Lumpkin house and his house?
nothing that was sticks out.
How, were any dates set up for you?
Yeah,
How did those get set up, if you know?
Chris had said that he had a friend, it didn't fall through.
And these dates, were these dates for payment, if you know?
Wait, pardon me?
Were the dates in exchange for payment of
Yeah.
some sort? You said Chris had a friend
Yeah,
and it fell through?
yeah, it didn't work out.
Were there any other dates set up other than the friend?
Yes, I set up a date, a fake date.
Did Chris ever say anything about, money from those dates?
Yeah,
What did he say?
$200 per day. He didn't know which day.
And that $200, was that going to be yours?
No,
How do you know that?
because he said it wasn't in mine.
Do you say anything else about, money from the date?
No,
You said you set up a fake date. How did you do that?
I contacted my boyfriend, and I told him to pretend to be a date.
Okay. And how did you contact him?
On a laptop.
Did you have a cell phone at the time?
No. I texted on my laptop.
Where did you set this date up to be at?
The holiday.
Did you go there?
Yeah,
How'd you get there?
Chris wrote me.
At that point in time, did you want to be in the vehicle with Chris?
Well, yes, 'cause I knew I was gonna be able to leave, but no, so,
Do you get to that Holiday Inn?
yeah.
What happens when you get there?
I jump out of the car and he tries to grab me, but I was obviously able to get free.
Do you see anything happen to Chris when you get out?
No, 'cause I was just running to the door.
Karen, may I have a moment? Ms. Dooley, you just testified that you did not want to go on those dates. Did you tell Chris that?
Yeah,
Did he say anything when you told him you didn't want to go on those dates?
I don't really have a choice. I did.
At any point in time, did he say anything that anything would happen if you didn't go on the date?
No, but I already knew.
You say you already
I already knew he was, flat or what he was thinking.
right, I don't want you to tell me what somebody was thinking. What did you believe would happen?
That I would be hurt too.
Prior to Jackie leaving, did you talk about dates with Chris at all before that?
No.
And back to that abandoned house, can you describe for me how Chris touched your breast? I didn't ask a specific question about how.
She said, let's start that, we're closed.
I understand, Your Honor. I just wanted to get a little bit more detail about that.
Yeah.
Can you describe for me how Chris touched your breast?
I don't think I really can describe.
And you said he touched your vagina over your clothes. How did that happen?
I don't know.
What part of his body touched what part of your body?
My hand.
And what part of his body touched your breast? Did he do anything with his hand when he touched your breast?
No.
When he touched your vagina over your clothes, did he do anything with his
Yeah.
hand? And when he touched your buttocks, what part of his body did he use?
Yeah.
And did he do anything with his hand at that time?
No.
house in the first place?
To the what?
Why did you go to the Lumpkin house in the first place?
Oh, Jackie had said that she wanted me to go with her, so
Well, Judge, I'm gonna object as to what Jack has said.
Let's see what someone else is.
What reason did you go?
to go with my friend.
Did you have any other reason to be there?
No,
I have nothing further to say.
Ma'am, the last thing you were asked by the prosecution as to why you went to this Lumpkin home, you said just to go with your friend, correct?
correct.
And you said, prosecutor asked you if there was any other reason, and you said no, correct?
Correct.
Is that a truth or a lie that you're telling the judge today? With those two answers? I'm sorry?
Can you repeat that one?
Yes. Are you being truthful with those two answers, or are you lying to the judge today?
I'm being truthful.
Truthful. You gave a statement to the police, did you not?
Yeah.
Okay? Didn't you tell them that you went specifically to this house with your friend because you wanted to sell sex for money to get drugs?
I corrected her. As I was reading the statement, I corrected her. I told her it's not why I went there.
Okay, but that's what you told the police in your statement, isn't that true?
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why you went to that house, isn't it true?
No.
And you told the prosecution earlier that you didn't know what this debt was about because you never got drugs, correct? I'm sorry?
Can I have a second, Your Honor?
Yeah. No recess for a couple minutes. So don't talk to anybody about your testimony. That's all. We should go together. Go ahead, fill in the hole.
So ma'am, just to go back and be clear, you told the police in your statement that you went to the house on Lumpkin to sell sex for money to get drugs, correct?
Yeah.
So were you gonna use the house on Lumpkin to have the sex so you can get the money?
Me, no.
No? And then Jackie had left the house, correct?
Yeah.
You stayed at the house, did you not?
Correct.
And who did you use drugs with when you were at the house?
Chugs.
I'm sorry?
Chugs.
And what kind of drugs did you use?
Heroin.
So why did you tell the judge earlier that you didn't do any drugs?
I don't call them, sorry.
I'm sorry?
I don't call them, sorry.
So you forgot that you did heroin, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And the heroin that you did with Chubbs, you had to pay for it, correct?
Yes, I have my own money.
I understand, ma'am. But that was the whole purpose of you going to that house, was to try to raise some money so you can buy some drugs with it, correct?
No, support my friend.
To support your friend.
Yes.
Even though you told the police that that's why you went there, to have sex, to raise money, to buy drugs, correct?
I don't want my friend to get in trouble.
I'm sorry?
I don't want my friend to get in trouble.
Trouble for what?
Looking for money.
Okay. So for those drugs that you got from Chubbs, the heroin, you never paid for them, isn't that true?
No, I paid for them.
You did?
Yes,
How much did you pay for those drugs?
$50.
$50. And why didn't you say that earlier when the prosecutor asked you regarding drugs? You also forgot that you paid the $50?
I don't know how to answer that.
You don't know the answer. And how much heroin did you shoot?
$50 for them.
Okay. Was it just one time or was it multiple shots of heroin that you got?
$50 is more than one.
Okay. And you would agree with me, if this matter started on January the 22nd, it lasted for about maybe a day, day and a half, correct?
Okay.
A day. And in those 24 hours, you did not get any sleep, correct?
Correct.
And you were probably high off the heroin that you did, correct?
No,
The heroin that you shot more than once for $50 did not affect your memory on that day?
it wears off pretty fast.
Okay. Had you done any drugs prior to getting to that house?
Not that day, no.
How did you get to the house on Lumpkin Street?
One of Jackie's friends drove us.
I'm sorry?
One of Jackie's friends drove us.
Okay, who is it that drove you there?
I'm not sure.
Male or a female?
I know.
And he drove both of you?
Yeah.
In what kind of a vehicle?
I'm kind of SUV.
Had you met this individual, Chris, prior to that day?
No,
Now, you told the prosecutor earlier that when you get into this vehicle that Chris was driving, you were ordered by Chubbs to get into that vehicle, correct?
Yeah.
And you said that you used this laptop. How did you get Wi-Fi on that laptop?
Chubb's had a hotspot.
So you asked them to be able to use the laptop?
Yes, I had it in the house.
I'm sorry?
I was also using my laptop in the house.
Okay. And where were you when you were using your laptop in the house?
Michelle's room.
Okay. There was some time that you were by yourself in that room, correct?
No,
No. Okay. So while you were in Chubb's house, in his room, using the laptop, why didn't you text your boyfriend at that time?
because at that time, Jack and I weren't in trouble
You weren't in trouble.
at that time.
And when was that in terms of since you arrived at that house?
Until Jackie came back when things went south.
Do you know, did you observe if she used drugs?
Yes,
She did drugs as well?
Yeah.
Did you observe her make any payments for those drugs?
no,
So as far as you knew from your observations, Chubbs or Chris were owed money by Jackie for the drugs, correct?
I wasn't with her, nor did she buy drugs for them, from them.
You saw her using drugs.
No, I knew she used them, I didn't see her actually using them on that day.
Now, you said to the judge, you started off with, when the prosecutor asked you questions, you said you saw a body, and then you changed your story to saying that Chris is the one who told you there was a body, but you never saw a body, correct?
I saw it looked like a body.
Did you see an actual body?
I can't say I did.
I'm sorry?
I can't say I did.
Okay. Why did you tell the police in your statement that you saw not just one body, but two bodies, if you didn't see the bodies?
Because that's what he said it was.
I understand. But you don't say in your statement that Chris told me there's bodies there. You say you saw two different bodies.
I was traumatized.
You were traumatized? You were in police custody. I'm sorry, not police custody, but you were with the police when you gave the statement, were you not?
Yeah.
And I'm sure you felt safe being around the police, did you not?
No,
Why not?
I don't feel safe around anyone.
Now, you also testified that Chris, when you went to this abandoned house, you testified that he parked in the driveway, correct?
Yeah.
And then he choked you and hit you and told you he didn't want you to get out of the vehicle, correct?
Yeah.
And then your testimony is that then he asked you to get out of the vehicle?
Yes,
You go in the vehicle, I'm sorry, you get out of the vehicle and you go in the house, correct?
yes,
Did you ever attempt to run or anything in that nature?
no,
So why is it that you told the police in your statement that you got hit and choked after you left the abandoned house?
I don't remember that. I know it was that way.
Okay? Do you deny that's what you wrote to the police?
I don't deny her.
Would you like to see it?
No, I don't.
So why did you tell the police that that the incident happened differently, that it was after you left that house is when you got choked.
I don't remember saying that.
Would you like to see your statement then?
No, I would not.
So would you deny that it's in your statement?
I'm not gonna deny or agree that it's in my statement.
Okay.
I just know I didn't,
So why did you tell the police a different story?
I don't know.
Is it possibly that you had the heroin in your system and it affected your memory in
No,
terms
I
of
was
what you
pretty dope-
remembered?
I was pretty dope sick at that time.
You were what?
Pretty dope sick at that time.
Dog sick from?
Dope sick, from not having dope.
Okay, so you were having withdrawals.
Yes.
Did that affect your memory at all? And recalling some of the facts?
Possibly.
Awesome. Now, you also testified to the prosecution that Chris specifically ordered you to start getting some dates so he can be paid back, correct?
Yeah.
Why isn't that in your statement to the police? In the written statement?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm only supposed to recall everything that happened in that whole, like, traumatic event.
Would you agree with me that your memory was better closer to the incident, January 22nd, than today?
Yes, yes.
So why is it that you remember today that he said that, but you forgot to put it in your statement to the police?
I don't you remember things that happened from,
You don't ask questions, you get to answer
my
them.
bad.
Answer the question.
What was the question?
Why is it that you remembered it today, but you didn't remember it back then?
I'm not sure.
Now, is it fair to say that it was your idea to try to get on the laptop and contact your boyfriend because allegedly you wanted to go home?
Yeah, it was my idea.
Okay. And where were you when you were doing that?
So,
Not in the van, correct?
no,
At any time while you were at Chuck's house, were you ever tied, handcuffed, or anything?
no, but I would constantly be watched over. Within a few feet of me, I guess.
And you never tried to open the door or run away, correct?
No, that was gonna be jumping out of a window or something. That was the second story.
Now, let's talk about your friend Jackie. You said there came a time that her friend came and picked her up, correct?
Yes.
He came in a vehicle?
Yes.
Was she able to get out of the vehicle?
Are there Christian people? Yes.
Yes. And you were able also to get out of Chris' vehicle, correct? Anybody stop you from getting out of Chris' vehicle?
No, since they got the money, they wanted to start.
So at that time, Jackie gets in the car with her friend, correct?
Yep.
And it's your testimony to this court that your friend just left you there.
Yeah.
And it's your testimony that even though you're outside that vehicle, that at that time you elect to get back into a vehicle that has Chris and Chubbs,
They told me to get back in and that they were taking on.
but they were in the vehicle.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you were scared at that time based on what happened and all the stuff that was told to you for this whole day, correct?
Yes, and I was scared because I'm in the middle of Detroit.
So you felt safer to get back with people who are holding you, won't let you go, correct?
No,
But you end up going back into the same vehicle, correct?
yeah, they trying to do it.
Now, this story about also gonna sell your laptop and shut off your location on your laptop, is that anywhere in your written statement to the police?
No, that's what there.
When you were in this vehicle that Chris was driving, at all times you were always in the passenger side, were you not? Front seat?
No. I was in the back seat at one point in time and they told me to get in the front.
And what?
I was in the back seat at one point in time and then they told me to get in the front.
Okay,
So I was in ice cream seat.
Okay, so what you're saying is that at one time Chubbs was in the front passenger, correct? And then you got in the front passenger? Was, Jackie ever in the front passenger?
No.
And Chris was always the one who was driving, correct?
Yeah.
So how is it that Chris was able to hit and do everything else and stab Jackie if she's not in the front passenger and he's the driver of that car?
Working, so.
I'm sorry?
The brakes in this car also weren't working, so.
The brakes were not working?
No.
Okay, well, that's great. But how is it that he's able to beat up Jackie and hit her and stab her? She was never in the passenger seat. He's always in the driver's seat and driving.
Red lights, stop signs, just stopping in the middle of Detroit.
So he jumped out of his seat?
No, oh God, no.
Well, wasn't she in the back seat on the bench?
No.
Well, tell me, how did this car look like? There was a front driver's seat, front passenger seat, correct?
And then there was a seat right here, and then 3 seats in the back. Jackie was sitting in the seat right behind mine.
On the passenger side.
He was able to reach back behind him.
And slap her on the face
Yeah,
from the driver's seat.
yeah.
1 second, Your Honor. Ma'am, you had testified to the prosecution that there came a time that you went to Chris's house, correct?
Yeah.
And why did you go to Chris's house?
To shower and get ready to do dates.
Okay, and when was that in terms of time span?
That was the, after Jackie had left, so that was the next day, the 23rd.
Okay, so after Jackie left and you're there, you asked him if you can go to his house so you can shower, so you can be clean, correct?
I didn't ask him to go.
Then how did you get there?
He took me there.
So you're saying it was his idea to take you there to shower?
Yeah.
And tell me, where was this house?
It's also on Lumpkin.
It's off of where?
It's also on Lumpkin Street, but further down.
Okay. And how do you know that was Chris's house?
He told me it was his belongings were there.
His belongings were there. I have nothing further to say, Judge. Thank you.
Wait a moment.
Sure.
Ms. Joel, you just testified at a cross, that you had in your statement, that you were going to have sex for money, but that wasn't true. Is that what you said at cross?
Yeah.
And you also told the defense attorney that that's something you told me earlier. Is that also true?
Let me get a question.
You told the
I mean-
defense, you told the defense attorney that that's something you told me earlier, that that statement, that part of your statement was not true. Is that something you told me
Yeah, I
earlier?
knew it wasn't true, yeah.
And you were asked some questions about using drugs on cross-exam. Do you remember those questions?
Yeah.
Were you afraid to tell the court that you were using drugs?
Yeah.
Is that why you didn't answer the questions on direct? And you were asked the whole a lot of questions from the defense attorney about things that were or were not in your statement. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
The questions that you're being asked here today, are they more extensive than the ones the police asked or different? Are these questions more thorough than the questions you were asked by the police officer? And when you made your statement, did the police officers ask you about an order of events?
No, not really.
And I believe on cross you testified that you were traumatized. What do you mean by that?
I just never imagined that something like this would happen to me. You know, it's not every day. Go through something like this.
And did you feel traumatized when you talked to the police?
Yeah, we're still really shook up.
You were asking questions about the house with the dead bodies in it. Do you remember those questions?
Yeah.
Do you remember what that house looked like?
Yeah, there was graffiti letters.
Which house is this, if I may?
The house with the body.
There was graffiti letters out in front of the tree. It had, like the, green stairs, I don't know what the material's called. But yeah, I remember that. I didn't at first, but as you asked, Google Maps.
And you were
I'm
asked.
sorry, what did she say last?
She said Google Maps.
Google Maps.
You were asked by the defense attorney if you attempted to run. Do you remember that?
No.
Why is it that you didn't attempt to run?
I know I could not run first.
And you told the defense attorney on cross that you got back into the vehicle after Jackie left because Chris said he would take you home. Do you remember saying that?
Yeah.
Did you go home at that time?
No.
Did you want to go home at that time?
Absolutely.
Were you able to leave at that time?
Yeah, I guess I could have.
May I have one moment, Your Honor?
Sure.
You told the defense attorney that you paid for the drugs that you got. Do you remember that? At what point in time were you told that you owed money for the drugs?
I personally wasn't told that I owed money, until the next day.
When you say the next day, is that?
23rd.
Okay, is that after Jackie left?
No.
Were you told that day that you had to pay back the money?
Yeah.
And is that when you had to set up dates for the money?
Yeah.
Were you able to go for those dates on your own?
No.
How is it that you knew that you couldn't go by yourself for those dates?
I was told that I wouldn't be able to go by myself because I am so.
I have nothing further on.
Ma'am, you mentioned something about Google Maps.
Yeah.
When did you utilize Google Maps to see where this abandoned house was?
When I got home.
You mean after you were safe, correct?
Yeah.
Did you tell the police about that?
Well, at first I told him I didn't remember where the house was.
Right.
And then after a lot of searching on Google Maps, I found it.
I know, did you give that information to the police?
No, I didn't give him that.
Did they ever take your laptop? Do you know what to
Yeah, they took my
search
laptop.
it?
They took my laptop.
They did?
I didn't search on the laptop, though.
What did you search it on?
Searched on my old roomie's laptop or computer.
Okay, enough, okay. And then, so what you're saying, I guess today, is that the police just added the statement that you went there to have sex for money for drugs. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I said that to the police, I know it.
I'm sorry?
I said that to the police.
That you went there
Yeah.
for, right. And there was police officers that you spoke to that came to the hotel too, as well, correct?
Yeah.
And isn't it true that you also told those police officers that you went there to have sex?
It was the same.
Hold on, ma'am. To have sex to make money to buy drugs.
Yeah.
You told that to the police, correct?
Yeah.
So why would you do that if allegedly you had $50 in your pocket and you already had money and you paid for the drugs?
That was the day before. That money was already used up.
Right. But you told the police your whole purpose of going there, told them twice in a written statement and verbally to the different police officers, your whole purpose of going there was to have sex, to get money, to buy drugs. Correct?
Several times, didn't want my friend to get in trouble for what she was doing.
Okay? But why, if you have money, why did you tell the police twice that you went there to have sex, to get money to buy drugs?
Didn't want my friend to get in trouble.
You didn't want your friends to get in trouble. Okay. Nothing further, Judge.
I have a question. Okay, on the 22nd, you first, you went over there with your friend Jackie, correct?
Yes.
Jackie left, correct?
Yes.
And then you and Chubbs are doing heroin.
Yes.
Okay. When you leave there, you go to this abandoned house, correct?
Yes.
When you leave the abandoned house, you're driving around until Jackie finds someone to bring some money, correct? You then get out the car. She gets out the car, but she gets another car and locks you out.
Yeah.
You then get back in their car, right?
I was.
Yes or no?
Chris's.
Yes, you got back in Chris' car.
Yes, yes.
You went over to Chris' house.
Yeah.
Were you doing drugs again?
No,
So you didn't do any more drugs?
no.
Then you said you set up this fake date with your boyfriend, correct?
Yep,
And you got out the car, correct?
yes,
And you ran.
yes,
You had gotten out the car previous times and you never ran, correct?
yes,
You ran this time.
yes,
You got away.
yes.
Okay. Any questions, please, on my question?
Yes. When you went to Chris's house, did you want to go to Chris's house?
We've gone through this. I don't need to hear the same thing over and over and over again.
May I just have one question? Judge?
If it's something relevant that you haven't gone through based on my question.
Thank you. You just told the judge that when you got to the hotel, you ran, but you hadn't run before. Remember that?
Yeah.
Why didn't you run before?
I was in a moving vehicle.
Let me answer that question too. You said she could not run Chris. That was her answer.
Nothing.
Any questions?
I have no questions, Judge, based on.
All right, you step down.
Your Honor, if you have no additional witnesses.
The defense has no witnesses, Your Honor.
Your Honor, at this time, I would move to find over and reserve argument.
Judge, I would object on all the counts. Credibility is the utmost important thing to look at in cases where it's a he said, she said. We don't have anything else to corroborate the testimony. And I understand if there is a conflicting testimony, then it's a question of fact. In this particular case, we don't have that. The only testimony we have is from the complainant, who does not seem credible at all. She left out the fact that she's done drugs, had heroin more than once that she shot up when the prosecutor asked her. She left out the fact that she told police officers on 2 occasions as to why she went there, to have sex, to make money, to buy drugs, but wants us to believe that when she came to court that she had $50 on her, and that's how she bought the drugs, but she just said for moral support for her friend. That is just so incredible, Judge. If she's not truthful about that aspect, why should we believe anything else as to what she says transpired, Judge? It just doesn't make any sense. Does not make sense at all, Judge. And look at the behavior that if allegedly her friend, Jackie, who's allegedly also being held against her will, leaves with another guy and locks her out. Nothing adds up about this case, Judge, and I ask you to dismiss.
And Your Honor, I would ask that the court find over on all the counts. Defense counsel argued about collaboration. That's not even necessary to find guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. We don't need collaboration from a jury or a trier of fact, and we don't need a victim to resist at any point in time. Your Honor, I believe that we have met our burden to a probable cause standard, and I would ask that the court find over with regard to the credibility of the complainant. She testified about using drugs on cross and on redirect, indicated that she was afraid to tell the court she used drugs. She testified about getting back into a vehicle with Chris because she felt stranded in the city of Detroit. I think it's very clear from her demeanor here that she was fearful of him. Her overall sequence of events supports the allegations contained right now. And I do believe that her testimony is sufficient to bind over, and should a trier of fact believe her beyond a reasonable doubt, that would be enough to find guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Your Honor, she was threatened multiple times, she was beaten multiple times. He attempted to light her hair on fire with a propane lighter. She was kept in an area in a vehicle against her will. She indicated multiple times she didn't want to be there. She was fearful. She said she could not outrun Chris. She was told she had to engage in these dates, that she wasn't going to get the money from it, that was going to go to Chris. He was essentially pimping her out. She was restrained in the vehicle. There was a dangerous weapon at one point in the vehicle, and the restraint was also used to facilitate the extortion or the dates that were supposed to happen. I believe that certainly the great bodily harm by strangulation was shown to a probable cause standard of felonious assault, with the torch lighter shown to a probable cause standard of gun right. I believe that there is a question of fact or a prior of fact as it relates to each and every one of these counts. I would ask that the court find over, while she did have shaky testimony at time, the sequence of events did not change. Your Honor, I believe that we met our burden. I'd ask the court to find over. Thank you.
All right, court having heard the testimony and argument, time to follow. And I'm not gonna go back through all of the testimony. I heard the testimony. I didn't buy it. I don't any of it. She acted like a victim when she talked to you, talked to the prosecutor. Because then you was phrasing questions in a way that helped her. So then she could act like a victim and lower her head and start to cry and not really deal with things and lie to you. but it's okay. Then on cross-examination, she started to show us some of her true self. She got angry. She got angry with the counselor because he was asking her questions she didn't want to hear and didn't want to answer. I've been sitting on this bench for over 15 years, and I have never dismissed a case based on the credibility of the witness. Until now. I don't believe her. I don't believe a word she said. And as such, this matter is dismissed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Dismissal power, favor.
Let me come see you, because everything is fine. Over.
Wait, 1 second, Mr. 1 second.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Or how can we help you?
Sir, I have an 11:30 exam scheduled tomorrow. And I guess I'm a little confused because I thought I requested Zoom, but the computer says in person. On
Okay.
Jalen Radden, Radden. Jalen, Jalen. I could give you a case number, Madam Clerk. It's 2006-0019.
On this page? What's the name of the case?
Jalen Radden, Radden.
That's up in person.
But I requested a Zoom. My client and I are on the same page as,
Well, right now, I don't have the prosecutor for that case here. I have a prosecutor here, but not the prosecutor, not the courtroom prosecutor.
who is your courtroom prosecutor? Is it Moody?
Mr. Moody, I think.
Oh, her P number?
Okay, I will see if I could get a hold of Mr. Moody and see if he could zoom in.
Well, Ms. Hurst, just like your client has the right to demand an in-person, so do the people. The people have the same right that you do, as your client has. They have the right to demand in-person too. So, and right now it's set for in-person. That's what I'm going to tell you.
Okay, so if Mr. Moody doesn't object to a Zoom hearing, will Your Honor
I
entertain?
don't know. I'll deal with it when we can deal with it in the morning. I can't discuss it now. I don't have the prosecutor.
Yes, sir. All right, thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Have
Have a good afternoon.
Good afternoon, the last thing. Did you bring in?
Judge, I wasn't sure which box you wanted more, so.
Okay.
number 20059520101. People of the state of Michigan versus Devin Todd. The defendant is being charged with count 1, police officer fleeing, 4th-degree vehicle code. Count 2, police officer assaulting, resisting, obstructing. The defendant is a habitual offender. 4th offense notice. Case number 200-62201. People of the state of Michigan versus Devin Todd. The defendant is being charged with counts 1, 2, 3, 4. Assault with intent to murder. Count 5. Weapons, firearms, discharge from vehicle. Count 6. Assault with intent to do great bodily harm, less than murder, or by strangulation. Count 7, 8, 9. Assault with intent to do great bodily harm, less than murder, or by strangulation. Count 10, weapons, firearms, possession by a felon. Count 11, weapons, ammunition, possession by a felon. Counts 12, 13, 14, 15. Assault with a dangerous weapon, felonious assault. Count 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30, weapons, felony, firearms. The defendant is a habitual offender. 4th offense notice, mandatory 25-year sentence. The defendant is present on both cases for exam.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Matthew Soloff on behalf of the people, P83358.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. The police report Attorney Andrew Fanning, P42853, appearing with my client, Mr. Devon Todd.
Okay, ready to proceed? Your Honor, I believe we have some preliminary matters.
Which case are we talking about?
Regarding the case ending in 62201.
Actually, Your Honor, it would actually be as it relates to both cases. Your Honor, again, I am making a motion that this matter is adjourned, partially because we do not have full and complete discovery in this matter. It has come to our attention this afternoon, the officers in charge did come and they indicated that for whatever reason, there is a co-defendant in this case, which I believe was before the court today, which I did not know about. And apparently the discovery was uploaded for the co-defendant's case and not all of the discovery for my case. And we should have that information before we can proceed. Likewise, my client and I have had somewhat of a breakdown in our relationship. And as a result of that, he did attempt to retain Mr. Larry Pope, which he did appear here before this court earlier today. And he indicated that he currently was unable to.
Mr. Polk is on Zoom.
Oh, he's on Zoom. He did indicate that he was unable to come here today because he's on quarantine. I'm asking that this court put this exam over until the other exam is arising out of the same facts and transactions. And pursuant to the discovery rules, I think we need complete discovery before proceeding. Because the co-defendant is scheduled for a later date, my client is prepared to waive whatever timeframes that are involved because it is his position that he would want Mr. Pope to represent him.
And Your Honor, I do have some information regarding that discovery. Because the discovery was obtained through the course of the investigation of Mr. Cummings, the evidence was uploaded to Mr. Cummings' file, and because the files are separate when they should have been joined by now, but because the file was placed, I believe, in Judge Archer's courtroom instead of here, they weren't merged, and the evidence wasn't merged. And that's why it was not provided to defense counsel. I was only made aware of it this afternoon after speaking with officers on the case. However, it is available, and I can't send it out now. We do have all of our witnesses here, and we would be able to do a partial hold with them.
I don't like to take cases, no.
Very good, Your Honor.
And if they haven't gotten discovery, my normal recourse is to dismiss. I don't care what the reason is. Doesn't matter.
Your Honor, I'd just like to put on the record that I would object to a dismissal, just given that it was not in any malicious manner that
It doesn't have to be malicious. It has to be that it affects the defendant's rights.
So with that in mind, Your Honor, we would move to have it dismissed. Again, the people are not without a remedy. They, of course, can reissue.
I mean, the issue is that they can reissue. He's gonna be right back here and start all over again, and they're still gonna have to try to figure out a way to combine them.
Absolutely.
Yes, Your Honor, and I would make the argument for judicial efficiency to not do that. We just reset the whole process all over again.
And so if the court is inclined to do that, as indicated, I think that it's appropriate to have all of the discovery before proceeding. So then I would renew my request to adjourn this matter. If the court is not inclined to dismiss this matter, at least adjourn the matter so that there can be complete discovery in this matter. And that would allow Mr. Pope the opportunity to come in on this case and represent Mr. Todd.
Who's Colby on this?
We're going to be Mr. Cummings. Give me 1 moment, Your Honor.
Oh, Mr. Chris.
Correct. Your Honor, he was
When did we set that one for?
May 13th at noon.
May 13th at noon?
Correct.
Mr. Pope, Mr. Vaughn?
I'm here, Judge.
All right. Mr. Pope, if I adjourn this matter, you're coming on it, correct?
Yes, sir.
As to both cases or one case?
As to, I'll have discussion with my client about the other matter, Judge, but absolutely about the AWIM case.
Right now, it's the AWIM case and not the other case.
Yes, sir.
It'll be on the other case.
Okay.
Until and unless folks file an appearance on that case.
Okay.
Mr. Polk, are you available May 13th at noon?
I am, Judge.
All right. I'll adjourn these matters to May 13th at June. I expect all discovery to be provided to Mr. Polk and Mr. Cripps. Well, and Ms. Fanning for the other case, if there's anything missing on that. If you come back and stuff's still missing, I'm just dismissing.
I'm fine.
Judge, what I need to know as well is, in this particular matter, can I bring a motion as it relates to bond? Because that is a substantial time away.
You can bring it. I prefer you put it in writing, that way I got some information.
Okay, I will.
What's the motion, what's the bond now? So 250 cash. $75,000 cash.
Your Honor, just so that there's clarification on this record, my client had some concerns about what the court had earlier indicated about dismissing because of the lack of discovery. What I've explained to my client is that this court is not going to dismiss at this particular point in time based upon the severity of the charges and based upon the request to adjourn. And I don't know, so that for his education, if the court can clarify the court's ruling as it relates to my request to dismiss.
Well, Mr. Todd, it's my decision. My decision at this point is to not dismiss. All right? Because one, I just think that it would delay everything and push everything back even further. Because if I were to dismiss, they're gonna take you across the street, and then tomorrow morning they're gonna keep you because they can hold you for another 3 days. And within those 3 days, they're gonna refile this action. All right? And now you're gonna start all over again. The arraignment, the PCC, and then we'll set an exam. You know, some of my exams are set out till September. You wanna wait that long? So at this point, since we got the other, alleged Cody, set in May, we're gonna do them both at the same time.
May 13th is my date for, our
Yep,
other
Yep,
case.
we'll do one right after the other.
Okay, okay, thank you.
All right. You wanna, how do you wanna do it, Mr. Bo? You wanna put it in writing, or you just wanna do it orally now? Doesn't matter. Either way.
Judge, I need to probably get some information so that I can make a real record.
Okay,
I'll put it in right now. I'll get it to the court immediately.
okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'll file my appearance shortly.
Okay, all right,
Thank you so much.
Mr. Polk, I'll have discovery, including all of the new video discovery sent to you shortly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm gonna tell you, sir, I'm coming to tell you exactly what happened. So.
Great rest of your night.
All right, you too, now, take care.
All right. No, hold on.
So,